26 million blacks still without the vote could only watch and wait today, as a white minority, just over 3 million of them, went to the polls to decide whether FW de Klerk's reforms or right-wing demands for racial segregation will prevail.
I'm going to vote no, and I'm going to stop Mandela and Evie to take over this country, to give it over to the blacks.
To integrate, I have got no objection. The suburb is integrated already. I'm going to vote yes.
Oh, well, either way, it's going to be a mess.
FW de Klerk has said he'll resign if he loses the vote. For now, at the end of a hectic 3-week campaign, he's confident.
I'm not making specific predictions, but I'm in a buoyant mood.
The president says he'll be content with a majority of just one. In truth, that would be a disastrous result. And with the odds in the president's favour narrowing, nerves are strained. The president's right-wing opponents, who are demanding a separate homeland for whites and a rejection of any deal with the likes of Nelson Mandela, are hoping to benefit from voter apathy. 1 in 4 may not vote.
I feel very good. I'm prepared for any result, especially to win.
We are in a better position to have our fatherland back after this referendum. You can be sure of that. We are ready to go on with the struggle.
By lunchtime tomorrow, FW de Klerk will know his fate, and South Africa will know whether constitutional reform or racial segregation is at the top of the political agenda. Violence will be on that agenda, whatever the outcome of this referendum. John Harrison, BBC News, Johannesburg.
The United Nations Special Envoy Cyrus Vance is due in Azerbaijan later today. He'll try to help resolve the bitter conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia over the disputed enclave of Nagorno-Karabakh. The civilian population in Armenia has been hit particularly hard by the struggle over the territory. From the Armenian capital, Yerevan, Angus Roxburgh reports.
Armenian television news reports nightly on the latest Azeri aggression or alleged inhumanity, stiffening the nation's will to survive a 4-year-old economic blockade by Azerbaijan, which has made life in the Armenian capital, Yerevan, almost unbearable. This municipal heating plant for Yerevan's central district is working at only about 3% capacity since Azerbaijan cut off oil and gas supplies. Even the plant's workers have to huddle around a wood-burning stove. Ordinary flats have had no heating at all winter. In most blocks, pipes have burst and the stairs are covered with ice. Hospitals have been swamped with cases of broken limbs and hypothermia. In this typical flat, the kitchen with its tiny gas ring is the only warm place.
We've got used to it. So long as we get a couple of hours of electricity, we can survive. When they cut the power and gas altogether, we go outside and cook on a fire.
Armenia used to rely on Azerbaijan for 80% of its energy needs. Now people have been reduced to siphoning off petrol and walking to work. With power cuts for 8 hours a day, the economy has almost ground to a halt. Spring looks as if it's finally on its way here, and that should alleviate the worst miseries of winter. But an end to the dispute with Azerbaijan, and hence to its blockade of Armenia, looks a much more distant prospect. Angus Roxburgh, BBC News, Yerevan.
The Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Aarons has said he believes Israel's attempts to get $10 billion of loan guarantees from the United States are doomed. The Americans say the guarantees can only be made when Israel stops building new settlements on occupied Arab land. Mr. Aarons, who's visiting Washington, said this is a condition no Israeli government could accept. The Midlands
polls indicated the outcome would be close, with Mr. de Klerk's National Party running neck and neck with the Conservatives who want a no vote. Black people can't vote in the referendum. Factional fighting between rival black groups has claimed about 280 lives since campaigning began. Some black leaders say white extremists opposed to constitutional reform have provoked the violence.
White South Africans queued as never before to cast a vote that will decide their destiny. In a country where polling has traditionally been marked by apathy and abstention, today's turnout was unprecedented. The early signs suggested an 80% ballot in some areas, a show that should favour Mr. de Klerk, the man who staked his political career on the outcome. Only a sizable yes vote majority will give the president the authority he needs to continue his drive towards non-racial democracy. His arch-rival, Dr. Trunick, whose right-wing campaign had gathered considerable support from whites who want to return to apartheid, still looked confident as he cast his no vote